what about a GDP that also looks at contemporary jewelers? Because when you go into the GDP program, it's very, commercial stuff. But what about contemporary jewelers? Because now you are, again, there's that exclusion. And also what happens in these GDPs is,
You were a part of a
I was a part of a GDP, and I did at some point I did upset a few people because of how there was a misuse of funds. So students get into these programs.
So you're talking about it, Jonah?
Yeah, no, I'll touch on it. Welcome back, guys. Shooting part 3.
This is the third time.
Yeah, this is the third time.
Cables. Okay, so yeah, we have quite an interesting topic for today.
Yeah, but before we start the topic,
Yes.
we would like to congratulate all the finalists who have been chosen for the SA Jewellery Week competition. And we look forward to seeing what you guys are making, because right now everybody's given the go-ahead to make stuff, right?
So if you received an email from me, it means that you are a finalist and you are... you've been given the go-ahead to manufacture the pieces that you entered. So we've got 20 student entries and we have 9 professional entries.
Yeah.
So it's, 29 entries in total. So that all 29 will be showcasing at the event, at the exhibition, which is on the 29th of October this year. Obviously, the event starts from the 25th and it'll run up until the 29th of October. But everyone that's received an email from me, you are now in line officially to win the grand prize. As we said, the student grand prize is 5,000 rands, which is not bad for a student. You can buy a toolbox if you are continuing your studies. And for the professionals, the grand prize is 10,000 rand.
Yeah.
And yeah, also not a bad way to start your day on the 29th of October. So congratulations to everyone.
Congratulations, guys. The judges had a lot of work there.
Yeah, they had a lot of work.
But they chose quite...
Yeah, we got through.
Amazing pieces and finds.
Yeah, there'll be some nice things to see.
Yeah.
So now we can jump into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
It's a new week. Let's start. How are you?
I'm so tired. I'm so tired. There's so much going on. I think because of our work schedule and also, trying to work on, preparation for the event. There's definitely
a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on for us. But we still, we're here, we're alive, we're kicking, and that's what matters.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the schedule has been quite hectic from the business side, they say Jewellery Week, and obviously the teaching side, but also in our own personal businesses that we are running, things are quite busy there. And besides that, I don't think that's the only thing that's making us tired. I think, the tiredness also comes from, kind of going into what our topic is for today. The how do we put it?
So we're talking about the industry today.
Yeah, the industry at large.
We're just talking about the industry at large, and I think it stems from what happened with an opportunity.
Yes.
That was available for jewelers.
Yeah.
And
so just a bit of background. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there was an opportunity given or presented to the industry where it was a group of people that are trying to create like an exhibition space for jewelers at a very well-known complex in Sandton. It's more of a complex, and they also sell, it's like a couture kind of space. The space that I'm talking about now. So these people were looking for jewelers to come and be part of this exhibition space. More than an exhibition space, it was like a
retail.
Yeah, it was a retail.
People could sell their work there,
and people and what they wanted is they were opening it up to everyone who was interested, where you'd have a space kind of let's call it like it's the top floor of this particular building, and it was only specifically targeted at jewelry designers in South Africa. So they
Yeah.
sent the call out from my understanding, because I also got the call. And I met with these guys, and they were very excited, and they showed me what the plan was, what they were planning on doing, and the amount of work that would be going into this to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I was quite interested in taking part. They were also looking for a curator, somebody that was gonna
Create the space.
curate the space and look at how the space can, or the pieces or the people that are gonna be taking part, how can they work together to make sure that the space is as nice as possible. So, long story short, they sent the call out, and no one was interested.
Well, yeah, there wasn't. They felt like there wasn't enough people
Yeah.
who were interested to make this, a success as they had intended it
Yeah.
for it to be. So, which ended up being quite frustrating, because we could recognize a similar pattern.
Yeah.
In that, as as starting SA Jewellery Week, we also have been sending calls to jewelers, saying this is what we're doing. We'd like for people to partake, and there are those people who respond, and then but majority of the people are very reluctant to partake, which is quite sad.
It's very sad.
It's very sad. Yeah.
Because the we've been doing this since 2019. Our first show was 2019, and as Kanya said, we take the call out. They are, at most maybe 3 jewelers who are constantly interested in taking part, or even besides taking part, wanting to assist us in a way to make sure that the event takes place.
Yeah.
2 of which are the judges that we have for our event this year. Geraldine Fenn and Joni Groeneveld. I'll mention them because they are great help, and we must give them the appreciation that they deserve. So those 2 are the ones that I'd say show the most kind of enthusiasm and interest. And then when we try to even kind of pulling into their network, we will contact the people that they know, because we have been given databases of emails and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We'd send it out, and then nothing.
Yeah.
And
It's worrisome, because I mean, we are as a small industry in the country, and here we are with institutions that have students who are doing this who want to come into this industry, yet the people within the industry are not as active in trying to change the way that things happen in the country with regards to our industry. So it's very like troublesome.
it's sad.
It's sad, because it means that when you speak to people, individuals, everybody's always complaining, oh no, this industry is so tough, or oh no, this and this and this about the industry. But when opportunities do come up, people are not taking grabbing onto those opportunities and wanting to be part of the change that they want to
Yeah.
see in the industry. So it does feel like we are doing something for people who really don't really care,
From the looks of
from
it,
the looks of it.
not pointing fingers and saying
Yeah.
that people don't care. Maybe you've got your own reasons.
Yeah.
But going on what Kanya's saying, our industry is small, and the only way we can make it grow is if everybody comes together. And we came up with this idea, or this initiative of SAJW, because that's our intention and that's what we're trying to do. And we don't have to do it. We want to do it because we are part of the industry. We went to school to study this. We've started businesses in this industry, and
Yeah.
we want to make sure that everyone that is a part of it can reap as much as they can from it. We are rich in natural resources that if we don't if we aren't careful, the natural resources, not even if we aren't careful, it's already happening. The natural resources that are coming from our country and our continent specifically get taken and then they get shipped overseas. And then the jewelry that everyone is wearing, whether it's mass produced or not,
Majority of the time is not from local manufacturers.
yeah,
So I think also what I think is one of the problems that we have as jewelers in this country is that everybody works in silos. People are okay with just pushing, within their own space. It's me, 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 me. There's no us.
there's no
Of
us.
which if you're trying to build something, even if you are your own brand and you're trying to push your brand, you're only gonna grow as big as the industry is in your country. So if your industry, the industry in your country is not as it's not booming, it's not as successful, as a whole, as a unit, then you are also going to be
Yeah,
part of the numbers that are not doing as great as they would want to. Yes, you might have your clientele and whatnot, but if there's an industry that where everybody's working together, it means that you stand a greater chance
yep,
of benefiting from it,
yep,
because initially the idea with SAJW was that we need to educate our consumers.
yes,
Our consumers need to know that there are designers out there who do all of these amazing
yeah,
things, and we are trying. Yes, we're small, and maybe also we as SAJW would have to try and be more visible and all of that. But at the end of the day, we are speaking mostly about, it's just a culture that seems to be consistent within our
yep,
industry, where you'll get things like Jewellery, you'll get things
oh,
like your
Julex.
Anglo-Plat, you get all sorts of things that are always happening, and it's great, people win prizes and whatnot, but again, it just speaks to the individual as opposed to speaking to the industry,
Yeah,
which is problematic.
there's no collective
There's
with
no
that,
collective, there's
you know.
no collective, and it's
It's bad, man. Like, even with Jewellery specifically, for those that don't know what Jewellery is, it's a jewelry expo, I could call it that, where in the past, what used to happen is it would be open, I think, for a week. And then people from just the regular consumer could come in and have a look at what jewelers are doing, and kind of see what the industry was all about. And back when we were students, it was huge. They'd book out the Santon Convention Center. Obviously, it was once a year, and every time we'd go there, students, obviously there'd be a student pass. So we'd get onto the bus, the UJ bus, and we'd all as students go and have a look at what was happening. We could buy tools, kind of network with what the industry is doing, and maybe you can make connections for when you graduate and things like that. And as I said, it was open to the public. And then later, a couple of years down the line, they decided to close it to just the industry people. So it became more of a networking thing as opposed to opening it up
an
for
awareness
everyone
of,
else to
yeah.
have a look. There's a big problem there, we think. We've spoken, I say we because I know we've both spoken about
Yeah.
this, in that we know each other as the industry. As I said, it's a small industry. And us talking amongst ourselves doesn't help grow the industry. We need to let people know that education that we are saying we're trying to do with SAJW, Julex was the perfect place for that to happen, especially because a lot of the people there were hand makers, and you were able to educate the customer who's coming in as, oh, I made this by hand, or I designed it myself. It hasn't been export or imported from India or China, or whatever the case is. And that would have been a way if it had continued to grow the industry. But as a result, with that thing happening where they made it smaller, I think, it's my opinion, that's what's made Julex become smaller and smaller as the years have gone on. Because nowadays, Julex, man, it's like a fourth of the size that it used to be back in, like, as a student from 2007 until 2011. And since those times up until now, maybe from like 2015 up until now, it's just gradually become smaller and smaller and smaller. Now,
And it makes sense why it would become smaller, because if I'm always going to Jewellery and I know Tato's going to be there, I know this person's
yeah,
going to be there, I know this institution is going to be there. So because I'm part of the industry, I kind of know majority of the people and what they do and whatnot. So even when I'm within that space, I'm expecting to see those people, and it ends up being one of those where, okay, then what is the point? Because everybody, every business that is there already has a database where they communicate what they're doing to their clientele all the time,
yeah,
and we are aware of who does what in most,
in most cases, yeah.
in most cases. So it does make sense for it where people lose interest in it, because you're seeing the same faces over and over again, which then also, begs the question. So maybe I don't think that in its entirety there's something wrong with making it a private thing, where it's just
The industry.
for the industry. But I do think that if you're going to do something like that, then also have something that speaks to the public as well.
Yeah,
That goes in conjunction with Jewellery. So if it's Jewellery that week, there must be programs that kind of, or a specific time slot where people come
people
in
come.
and experience what is going on, especially because I would think that if you're able to host something like that at Santon, it means that even you would have the ability to even market it
Exactly,
and on a broader scale.
exactly.
So I really do feel like this also is a duty that we can place on the Jewellery Council. What do
Yeah,
you think?
I think so. Yeah, of course. I mean, Jewellex is run by the Jewelry Council, so the entire thing is um we can say it kind of stems from there. The Jewelry Council. I'm a part of the Jewelry Council, and as part of as a member of the Jewelry Council, you would think that as a council is meant to look out for the people that are in that specific industry, right? I've been a member, I think maybe 4 years, maybe 3 years, 3 to 4 years. It's not been that long, and in that time, I cannot say I have necessarily received anything concrete that I can say, okay, the council has helped me with this. The only thing that I'm seeing, there are obviously the AGM meetings that you'll get invited to, and then a newsletter it might be once a week, maybe less frequent than that, but you do get those newsletters. But even there isn't, I don't know, I don't think there's not much coming out from the council that I would think a council should be doing. As a council, you would think there'd be more focus on building the people that are coming up, as opposed to just focusing on the people that are just there. And I feel that the council is doing that. They only focus on the people who are currently in there, or the people who are deemed as the successful people within the industry. And again, it's a very small minority of people that are there. But everyone else that is coming up, I don't think the council is doing anything to assist.
And also, like, are people actually aware of the council? Like, some people don't even know it exists. That's the reality of it. Like, some people in our industry don't even know what their role is. So again, it speaks to their visibility as a council. Are the models that they have been using over the years still working
Are they
or
still
not?
relevant?
Are they still even relevant to today's age, where people get information on social media platforms and are always plugged into the internet? But are they adapting? Like, that's the real question to the Jewellery Council. I think these are questions that I would pose to the Jewellery Council. Are you adapting to the changing times? What is the plan? What
Yeah.
is, if you are this council that's supposed to represent us, how does this encompass contemporary jewelers,
Even that,
as well?
that was a struggle.
Yes.
Contemporary jewelry was not even like put as a priority until I think more recently. I'm not sure if it's been passed or if it's been accepted as now a part. But I know that there was a big fight about contemporary jewelry being part of, or being recognized as like a part of the jewelry industry in South Africa.
And you see, for me, that is very problematic, because if you're looking at if you're looking at you cannot kind of choose which a part of the jewelry industry you're going to focus on, because it's made up of different types of, you know, little
Yeah.
sectors, and everybody needs to feel like they belong. And again, it speaks to that whole thing of a unit. You know, you're not going to say, oh, when you speak about the medical field, you know that it encompasses a whole, like every sort of
Medical.
medical practitioner.
Yeah.
It's not just going to be
Surgeons.
just surgeons, you know.
Yeah.
So of which I feel like contemporary jewelry as well cannot be neglected.
Yeah, it's a big part. I mean, it's
Contemporary
an
jewelers
important
also
part.
need to feel like they are part of the industry. And also, if you look at how people use alternative materials in
Yeah.
contemporary jewelry, and then you look at our country and the state that it's in, for someone who is from the township, for example, who is very talented and you know, has a love for contemporary jewelry, they could be using alternative
Yeah.
materials that cost less for them,
Yeah.
as opposed to, you know, buying
The
a
precious
metal,
metals. Yeah.
buying precious metal and doing all of those things. And so if we are not giving a chance to contemporary jewelry, it goes beyond just the fact that, you know, this is the aesthetic that we prefer over this. It speaks to our country and what is going on, you know, on an economic level,
Yeah.
as well as the young people who are coming into this industry
There's
and
something
playing
we
into
spoke
it.
about reading the room.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you read the room, you'd know that, okay, fine. Majority of people are struggling in the country. You know, it's a reality. So as Kanya's saying, and it's a very good point she's making, if you put a lot of focus on that and you had to focus like a great deal on, let's say, contemporary jewelry, as Kanya has said now, the kind of premise around it is to use alternative materials. And if you don't have money to buy your precious metals and you focus a lot on how can I take this, whatever it might be, a bottle cap, it doesn't matter. How can I use the knowledge of contemporary jewelry to be able to take that thing and make it into something that can be sold? I mean, it happens. Contemporary jewelry is huge in other
Internationally,
parts of
yeah,
of the world,
yeah.
and people see that as a viable part of the jewelry industry in the world in general. So we can also jump on that because of the opportunities that we have right now. If you know that, you know, money is very scarce, and even if you start a business, you might not afford to, you know, buy you know, 10 kilograms of gold to store, so that you can keep making your work. If you know that I've got the alternative materials and I have this niche within the industry that
Yeah.
I can focus on, you know, then you'll be able to have success there. Not to say that now everyone must just forget about all the other forms. We're just saying that it should be
It should encompass
include.
everybody.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise we run the risk of being a very elite,
Yeah.
you know,
An elitist
elitist
industry.
industry, which is not
No.
which is not going to fly in
Not in South
not
Africa.
in South Africa. Like, it shouldn't be something that we are okay with.
No.
You know, to continue working in a space where there's a huge a number of people who feel like they can't, you know, partake in the field that they're in. I mean, you can see that a lot of our contemporary jewelers are getting recognition internationally, and that says something, you know. So it's
That's
not
true.
it's not like we do
That's
not have the
true.
talent. We do have the talent, make no mistake about it. We do have the talent, but why do we have to be recognized internationally, but at
But not
home
at home.
there's no support, there's nothing. So I think, you know, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge for ourselves as also SAJW, but I think for us also as the people who've now started this thing, it gets frustrating because we have this big dream of doing this for everybody, you know, to make sure that everybody benefits, but at the same time, jewelers themselves also are not, you know,
Not
partaking.
taking
So
part.
everybody is to blame here. It's not just we can't just paint, oh no, the Jewellery Council is not doing A, B, and C. But as individuals, as designers, what are you doing to make sure that you are playing a role in changing, the
Yeah.
industry, because we are all
Yeah,
responsible.
it's no good trying to look out for yourself only. You need to, for anything to grow, everyone has to kind of take part.
Yeah,
So the jewelers that are, within the industry, whether you're part of the council or not, we all have to be a part of how this thing grows.
yeah.
It's
And I
focusing on yourself. I mean, that's not gonna
doesn't, I
help.
think, even with our institutions as well, that are taking on,
Yeah.
jewelry students, I think when opportunities like the platforms that we are creating, like the competitions that come up, are there, I think it's important for institutions to also encourage students to make it possible for students to take part in all of these things, because at the end of the day, whether it's a certain politics, we cannot use politics to say, for example, if as an institution, I'm not happy with however this platform is doing things, as a leader of that department, for example, then I'm not going to do A, B, and C. Then my department is not going to do A, B, and C. So I think this speaks to everybody. This is not to say, no, that person, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just saying that this is the mindset that we need to, adapt, because if an institution also starts, excluding students from partaking in certain things,
Because of the politics.
because of any politics that the person might have, personal issues or whatever the case is, then it's not only about you
It's not about you at all.
at all. It's about the student that you have taken time to create a curriculum for, because you are supposedly interested in the future,
Yeah.
in their future. So you cannot then be selective in what you think will benefit your student or not. Let the student be an active participant in what is happening in
Yeah.
the industry, and let them then decide what they feel like they should be taking part in, and what they feel like they shouldn't.
If they choose not to, then they choose not to.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. So I think, in that sense, I'm just like basically covering the different types of issues that we have. Like, every single sector is responsible. Everybody has a responsibility to make things grow. And it's not entirely one person's fault. Everybody
We all have to pull our weight.
we all have
of us
to pull our weight.
Also, like with other competitions, I think another thing that we have sort of identified, there are competitions that happen, and again, not mentioning any names, but it's a jewelry competition that would happen, and you'll see the same types of winners in all of these competitions, and you kind of ask yourself, why is it that the same people are winning every
Yeah.
every year?
Yeah. And I mean, that is
That means you are taking care of yourself, and you're not really, you don't care about the growth of the industry or the growth of other people who are, like, they really put their effort into this. I'm going to enter this competition, I'm going to design this, make this, I submit it, and then come the event, when the announcement is made, it's the same.
it's usually, there's like, if you were to collect the catalogs from the different years, the different of all the winners, you could see like this a repetition. It's the same,
Same.
type of people who are winning, or from certain specific companies, and that is, I think, as much as we're saying also people should be active in jewelers, that's where the disencouragement, like, that's where it comes from, that's where it stems from, because people feel like,
What's the point?
what's the point? I do A, B, and C, and there's, it's always going to be, people know the outcome already, and it's like, why should I bother?
What's the point?
Well, what is the point of doing this? Because
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's only going to be for specific
X
people.
company is gonna win this category, X company is
It's
gonna
gonna,
win that category.
yeah.
Fine, I get invited to the event, and then what? When it
Yeah.
gets there, there's a lot. We have a long way to go in changing what can happen in the industry and kind of the potential that we have
Yeah.
as South African jewelers. And this kind of discussion that we're having now is, I think it's long overdue. We've just decided, because we've now created this platform for ourselves, we thought, no, I mean, let's just put this out and let people know
Yeah.
how we feel. If it starts a discussion, that's obviously very much welcome, because we are doing this podcast so that we can discuss what's happening
Yeah.
in the industry.
Yeah.
We're not just going to focus on the good. You obviously have to focus on the bad as well.
Yeah.
So that
We need
you
to
can grow
critique
from that.
so
Yeah.
that so that everybody grows. So we know that probably this is going to upset a few people, the conversations that we've had, but it needs to be said, otherwise, if we do not say these things and we're not vocal about these things, then then why are we even fighting?
What's the point of fighting?
Because I think we also had that conversation of saying, why are we even doing this? Like, we really don't have to be doing this, because we also have our own dreams, and we also have our own things that we want to that we are trying to push. We could just choose to be like everybody else and say, listen, this is not my struggle, this is not my fight, and just take a back seat and watch as nothing
Nothing
happens.
happens.
Which is not what we want, because at the end of the day, as long as our institutions are opening their doors and saying we are taking on new students, as long as Jewellery Council is saying we are a Jewellery Council that is existing, then they have a duty to make sure that everybody that they absorb into that is absorbed into the industry can benefit from it.
Everyone must benefit.
And everybody must benefit.
Everyone must, especially because you pay a fee to be part of the council anyway. So it's like,
yes,
the fee mustn't just go to the council, it must go to everyone.
Yes.
We all have to benefit. In terms of the future and how we can do it, there's a lot of things that we can do. Maybe if there are some ideas or thoughts that you have, you can write them in the comments to engage us, to see what we can do, or maybe we can discuss it further in another podcast, another episode. But there are a lot of things that can happen. There are a lot of things that can happen to make sure that everybody can benefit from this. Because, no man, guys, enough is enough, eh? We need to kind of stand up and defend our industry and defend what we are all so passionate about, and the conversation has to start. If this thing can spring something else from this, great, let it happen.
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, we have an industry that supposedly has certain systems in place, like your GDPs, and all of those things are in place. But also, there's a lot about also these GDPs. Oh gosh, there's a lot about it also that is very frustrating. Where you're training students are being trained by these host companies, and so that they get they're more skilled, but then what happens afterwards? What happens afterwards? And what about a GDP that also looks at contemporary jewelers? Because when you go into the GDP program, it's very commercial stuff. But what about contemporary jewelers? Because now you are, again, there's that exclusion. And also what happens in these GDPs is,
you were a part of a GDP.
I was a part of a GDP, and I did at some point I did upset a few people because of how there was a misuse of funds. So students get into these programs.
So you're talking about it,
I'll touch on it.
Okay, you can touch
so
on it.
Students get into this program, and when they are supposed to, each month they're supposed to get a specific amount, right?
Correct.
And they're supposed to be trained, and this money is supposed to it's an allowance.
Yes.
That they get. So they signed up for it, all excited, we're gonna get the skill. But majority of the time, the host companies do not pay students on time. So students end up dropping out of these graduate programs, not finishing the graduate programs, because I mean, how do you get to work
Without money.
without money to get there? How do you pay your rent without money to get there? And who is questioning this? What is the Jewellery Council saying about this? What is the the investigation that's going into this?
Is it under Department of Arts and Culture?
What the
GDP?
I'm not
I don't know. I'm not too
but
sure.
but I
Whoever's responsible, what
but
have they said?
I feel like, again, if we are to say we have a council, these are things that the council needs to tackle. At some point, when there was an issue that we discussed with people from MQA, because MQA supports, gives funds
To the GDP.
to the GDP. And in the host company, we invited one of the people from MQA, to talk about the projects that are set out. And my thing then at that time was that, listen, I'm not interested in commercial pieces.
Yes.
I'm interested in contemporary. And I feel like, yes, I can sit here and learn all of these things, but what about this whole, like, the program of the GDP, also encompassing contemporary jewelers? And the response from the MQA person at that time was that, listen, we don't know anything about your industry. We get told by your industry people that this is what you guys need.
Gatekeepers.
So at the end of the day, who are these people who are telling MQA this is what's supposed to happen? Do you get me? Like,
Yeah.
it means that we have students who are being absorbed into GDP programs, that where nobody is actually calling people to task, finding out whether this is the stuff that they're doing is actually working
And
out.
it's actually not happening.
And not happening, finding out if students are actually taken care of. So it seems like
Even
people
with
are just
medical
lining.
aid, remember there was a thing.
There was
Students are meant to get medical aid contributions. at the end of the
Contributions,
month.
and people, these host companies end up taking that extra 500 rand or something, and lining their pockets with that, and students don't get that.
And the students don't know.
So
as well.
then the student doesn't get the full amount that they're supposed to get, of which is problematic. So there's a lot of people lining their pockets, people are being greedy, and what is sad is that if you think about our industry, there's private only. There's no public sector. If you look at all the other industries, if you look at the corporate world, there's public, there's private, there's private. We only have private. We do not have a public sector, and that means that then this private sector that has been running and has been in place needs to be making sure that people are taken care of. But then again, if I'm running my family thing, why will I care about?
I don't care about anyone else.
Why should I care about
It's just
anybody
about
else?
me.
Let me exploit people. Let me get what I need from them, and keep it moving and make the money. So these are all the things that are very frustrating about our industry.
Very frustrating.
And I think that if anybody from the Jewellery Council would like to have this discussion with us, or have an open discussion with people from the industry, they're welcome to
Let's
reach out
do
to
it.
us.
We're
If
happy to do
we
it.
have spoken something that is not true and there's things that we are not aware of, clarify it. Let people understand what you're doing. This is a podcast. We have a platform now where people can come and say, listen, this is what we do,
Yeah.
or this is what we don't do.
Yeah.
Educate us.
Tell us.
Tell us
If
what
we're
you do.
wrong, then we're wrong.
Tell us if we're wrong, then we're wrong. These are just merely our opinions as individuals, and not as people who are working with institutions
No.
and whatnot. This is just Kanya speaking.
Tato speaking.
Tato
It's
speaking.
our opinion,
It's as designers. Yes.
basically. Because we've come from, see, all these things that we're speaking of, we were part of. We were students. Now we're professionals working in industry, working at institutions, all the different facets that we're touching on. We're not just speaking from, just for
The
the
top
sake
of our
speaking.
heads, yeah.
We've experienced it ourselves personally, so we know what our experience is, and we just want to relay it to everyone to hear.
Yeah.
And we have to, as I said earlier, things have to change.
Yeah, things have to change, and I think that what I would put to task for our jewelry council is that if the fashion council in this country could do could manage to get to a point where it's at for fashion designers in our country, they should take a leaf
You should do
from
the same.
from their book, because if you look at our fashion industry, our designers are on an international
They're flying, guys.
they're on an international level, and that's all thanks to the fact that they have a very active fashion council also who pushes the agenda of local fashion designers. And we are seeing tremendous things happening where people are also able to charge for their products the way that they need to charge for their for their project for products for because of their time and effort and skill that goes into the stuff that they make, simply because the industry is there.
Supporting them.
The industry is supporting them. The industry is pushing that agenda to get them out there. So I think we've said enough.
Yeah.
We've said enough, and yeah,
we're happy to continue the conversation, right?
Yeah,
as I said, if people want to,
we're happy to
comment.
continue the conversation. If you guys want us to maybe even do a live thing, or if there's somebody who wants to join in or be brought in and have a podcast with us to unpack certain things, especially people like from the Jewellery Council or any of the heads of departments. You are more than welcome to just let us know that you want to avail yourself to clarify some things or teach us or educate us on certain things, or give us
we can
tips,
do that
and then
happily.
we can happily do that.
We want the industry to grow, so
Yeah.
that's
But
what
for
it is.
now, we are going to push the SAJW agenda, and we will send emails inviting people to partake in certain things. Whoever abides, great. Whoever doesn't, we're still gonna keep it moving. And we've just made that decision that even if it's 10 people, who take a keen interest in what we do,
Then it's 10
then it's 10 people, and we're just gonna keep it moving. I think it was important for us to also do this because we also don't want to run the risk of where people start creating this narrative that we are selective of who is supposed to be part of of our event. We send invites to everybody, and the people that you will see partaking are people who just simply responded and decided they want to be part of it. So if you want to be part of the people who help us in any way, lend your hands to us, because it's really just a few people doing this. Please let us know how you can be of assistance to us. Thank you so much, guys.
I think that's it. I think that's it. Just in closing, we are wearing jewelry from past students, people who have graduated
from our
department. This belongs to Relovua Mikosi. He graduated, I think 2 years ago. And this is Advocate. Is it Advocate? Yeah, Advocate Khoza. I think this is Advocate Khoza.
And this is also Advocate Khoza. This is Menonku. Dlamini.
She did a BTEC also 20
wasn't it 18?
18.
I think 2018. And then this is
Zaidi Becker. Yeah. Also did a BTEC.
And this is like my old piece in I think second year piece or something. Yeah.
And this is just the chain.
Just the chain. Yeah. So, guys, we hope
this
you enjoyed your time with us, and we hope there's something good comes out of this. If you made rest, Bafetu. Rest.
We have to talk, guys.
We have to talk. We have to say it.
Thanks a lot, guys. It's been great. Until we meet again, this has been SAJW Podcast. Peace out.
Peace.